You know, everyone loves an underdog story. We are hardwired for it. We want to believe in the genius kid who comes out of nowhere to change the world. And for a hot minute, Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF as the world knew him, was the ultimate protagonist. He was the golden boy. He was on the cover of Forbes, Fortune, you name it. He was the Michael Jordan of crypto, the wealthiest person under 30 in the entire world. But the thing that made everyone fall in love with him wasn't just the money. It was the anti-billionaire aesthetic. He didn't wear suits. He wore baggy t-shirts and cargo shorts. He didn't live in a mansion. He lived with 10 roommates. He didn't sleep in a 4-poster bed. He slept on a beanbag next to his desk. He told the world, "I'm only getting rich so I can give it all away to save humanity." And everybody bought it. The media, the politicians, the celebrities, Tom Brady, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, they all lined up to shake his hand. But here is the terrifying reality. We weren't watching the rise of a savior. We were watching the construction of a house of cards that was destined to collapse from day one. And when it finally fell in November 2022, it didn't just bankrupt a company, it destroyed lives. It wiped out life savings. It was a fraud so massive, they're calling it worse than Enron, worse than Madoff. So how did a 30-year-old math nerd fool the entire planet? To understand that, we can't start at the arrest. We have to go back to the beginning. The year is 2013. Sam is a physics student at MIT. He's smart, obviously, but he's looking for a purpose, and he finds it on an internet forum. He stumbles across a philosophy called effective altruism, championed by a guy named William McCaskill. The idea is simple but radical. Instead of working at a soup kitchen, you should go to Wall Street. You should make as much money as humanly possible, get filthy rich, so that you can donate millions to charity. They call it earning to give. Sam is hooked. He joins a trading firm called Jane Street. He's surrounded by other math geniuses, including a young woman named Caroline Ellison. Keep that name in mind. She becomes the centerpiece of this entire disaster later. But by 2017, Sam gets restless. He quits his high-paying job because he spots an opportunity in the wild west of Bitcoin. He notices something called the kimchi premium. Basically, because of inefficiencies in the market, Bitcoin was selling for a higher price in Japan than it was in the US. Sometimes the difference was like $5,000 per coin. It sounds like free money, right? Buy a Bitcoin in the US for $15,000, sell it in Japan for $20,000, rinse and repeat. But most people couldn't do it because of banking regulations and capital controls. It was a logistical nightmare. But Sam figured it out. He teamed up with another effective altruist named Tara McCallie, secured a $50 million loan from the co-founder of Skype, and launched a company called Alameda Research. The name was intentional. Alameda Research sounds boring. It sounds academic. It doesn't sound like we are a bunch of 20-somethings gambling on crypto arbitrage. They wanted banks to trust them. And for a while, it worked. They made millions. But here's the part of the story most people miss. The cracks started showing almost immediately.
By 2018, that free money arbitrage opportunity dried up. The market adjusted, but Sam didn't stop. He started making riskier and riskier bets, and Alameda started hemorrhaging money. The company was in chaos. Their record-keeping was a mess. Millions of dollars in crypto were just missing. Not stolen, just lost in the transfers because they were so disorganized. In April 2018, years before anyone knew who SBF was, his entire executive team staged a mutiny. Tara McCallie and half the staff confronted Sam. They told him he was reckless. They told him he had no regard for the rules. They told him he needed to step down or they would walk. Sam refused. He basically said, "I'm not leaving." So the adults in the room quit. They walked out, and that left Sam surrounded by yes men. It left him with a team of people who were either too young, too inexperienced, or too enamored with him to say no. That moment, the April fiasco, was the point of no return, because instead of fixing the problems at Alameda, Sam decided to double down. He realized that Alameda needed more cash to keep trading, so in 2019, he launched his own crypto exchange, FTX. Now, think about how crazy this is. An exchange is like a bank or a casino. It holds customers' money and charges a fee for transactions. Alameda is a hedge fund. They are the gambler. Sam Bankman-Fried now owned the casino and the high-stakes gambler sitting at the table. It is a massive, screaming conflict of interest, but nobody seemed to care because the money was rolling in. And then 2021 happened, the crypto boom. The world went insane. Dogecoin is worth more than Ford. NFTs of bored monkeys are selling for millions. Everyone and their grandmother is trying to get rich quick. And standing at the center of it all, with his arms wide open, was Sam Bankman-Fried. He went on a marketing blitz like we have never seen. He bought the naming rights to the Miami Heat arena for $135 million. It became the FTX Arena. He put the FTX logo on the uniforms of every Major League Baseball umpire. He partnered with the Mercedes Formula One team. He paid Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen tens of millions of dollars to be ambassadors. He even got Larry David, who hates everything, to do a Super Bowl commercial telling people don't miss out. And the message was clear. FTX is safe. FTX is the future. Get on board or stay poor. And the investors, the smartest people in the room, they ate it up. Sequoia Capital, BlackRock, SoftBank, they poured nearly $2 billion into FTX. There's this incredible story from a Sequoia partner. They were on a Zoom call with Sam, and he's pitching them this vision of FTX becoming an everything app. You can buy crypto, buy stocks, buy a banana. They were entranced. They thought he was a genius. After the call, they found out that during that entire meeting, Sam was playing League of Legends. He was clicking away at a video game while securing millions of dollars. And instead of seeing that as a red flag, as a sign of disrespect or lack of focus, they saw it as proof of his brilliance. Oh, he operates on a higher level. It was a cult of personality. Sam surrounded himself with a very specific inner circle. There was Gary Wang, the CTO, a quiet math prodigy. There was Nishad Singh, the head of engineering. And there was Caroline Ellison, who he brought over to run Alameda Research. They all lived together in a $30 million penthouse in the Bahamas. It was described as a dorm room for billionaires. Rumors swirled about them all dating each other, taking amphetamines to stay awake, running a global financial empire like a college project. But while they were living the high life, the crypto market started to turn. In May 2022, the crypto ecosystem Terra Luna collapsed. It wiped out $60 billion overnight. This set off a chain reaction. Crypto lenders like Voyager and Celsius went bankrupt. People were panicking. But Sam played the hero. He went on CNBC and acted like the JP Morgan of crypto. He started bailing out these failing companies. He said, "I have a responsibility to save the industry." He was lying. We know now that he wasn't saving them because he was generous. He was likely trying to save them because if they collapsed, they might expose the fact that he was broke too. See, while Sam was playing politics in Washington, D.C., trying to become the king of regulation, he made a fatal mistake. He poked the bear. He started lobbying for regulations that would hurt his biggest rival, Binance, and its CEO, Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ. CZ is the shark of the crypto world. Binance was the first investor in FTX years ago, but Sam bought them out. The relationship had turned sour. And then, in November 2022, the bomb dropped. A publication called CoinDesk got their hands on a leaked document. It was the balance sheet for Alameda Research. Remember Alameda, the trading firm that was supposed to be separate from FTX? Well, the balance sheet showed that Alameda had $14 billion in assets. But most of those assets weren't US dollars. They weren't Bitcoin. They were a token called FTT. FTT was a cryptocurrency that FTX created out of thin air. Here's the scam, broken simply. FTX prints millions of FTT tokens. They act like these tokens are super valuable. Alameda buys them or holds them. Alameda then goes to lenders and says, "Look, we have billions of dollars in assets. FTT, give us real loans in US dollars." They take that real money and gamble with it. It works great as long as the price of FTT stays high. But when CZ saw this report, he realized his rival was naked. He realized FTX was a house of cards built on their own made-up money. So on November 6th, CZ sent a tweet that changed history. He essentially said, "Due to recent revelations, Binance is going to sell all of our FTT tokens." That was the match in the powder keg. The price of FTT crashed. Caroline Ellison, desperate to save the peg, tweeted at CZ, "We will buy all your FTT for $22 right now." It was a desperate move. It showed they were terrified. Panic set in. Everyone who had money on FTX tried to withdraw it at the same time. It was a classic bank run. People wanted their money back. but the money wasn't there. Why wasn't the money there? Because Sam Bankman-Fried had taken customer deposits, your money, my money, and secretly loaned it to Alameda Research to cover their bad bets. We're talking about an $8 to $10 billion hole. On November 8th, withdrawals froze. The FTX website stopped working. The golden boy went silent. For a brief, humiliating moment, Sam asked CZ to buy FTX and save him. CZ signed a non-binding letter of intent. He took one look at FTX's internal books, and within 24 hours he said, "Nope, we're walking away. This is worse than we thought." On November 11th, FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Sam resigned. The aftermath was immediate and brutal. A man named John Ray III was brought in to clean up the mess. This is the guy who cleaned up Enron, and in the court filings, he wrote something scathing. He said, "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information." He found that FTX didn't even have an accounting department. They used QuickBooks. They used emojis to approve expenses. They used auto-deleting messaging apps like Signal to hide their communications. They found that Alameda had a secret exemption in the code that allowed them to have an unlimited line of credit on FTX. Basically, Alameda could lose infinite money, and FTX would just take it from customer accounts to fill the hole. Sam Bankman-Fried tried to talk his way out of it. He went on a media apology tour while sitting in the Bahamas, tweeted cryptic letters. He told the New York Times, "I just messed up. I didn't try to commit fraud." But the feds weren't buying it. On December 12th, the Bahamian police arrested Sam Bankman-Fried. He was extradited to the U.S., but the final nail in the coffin came from his friends. Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison pled guilty immediately. They turned on Sam. They admitted that they knew it was fraud. They admitted that Sam directed them to misuse customer funds. The effective altruist who wanted to save the world was actually running a Ponzi scheme. He faces over 100 years in prison. The charges include wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and campaign finance violations. He allegedly stole money from customers to donate to politicians, Republicans and Democrats alike, to buy influence. So what's the lesson here? It's easy to look at Sam and see a monster, a liar, a criminal, and he is those things. But we also have to look at ourselves. We have to look at the venture capitalists who didn't do their due diligence because they were afraid of missing out. We have to look at the media who were so desperate for a wunderkind story that they ignored the red flags. We have to look at the influencers who peddled this platform to their fans for a paycheck. We wanted the magic box. We wanted the thing that you put $1 into and get $10 out of, but that box doesn't exist. The tragedy isn't that a billionaire lost his fortune. The tragedy is the regular people, the teachers, the nurses, the students who trusted the guys in the suits, or in this case, the guy in the cargo shorts. They saw the Super Bowl ad. They saw Kevin O'Leary endorsing it. They thought it was safe. And now their money is gone. Sam Bankman-Fried's story is a warning. It's a reminder that in the world of finance, if someone tells you they have a secret way to make infinite money with zero risk, they are lying. The pieces of the puzzle were there the whole time. The confusing corporate structure, the conflict of interest, the miraculous returns. We just didn't want to see them. And my biggest fear? We're going to do it all over again with the next genius who promises to save the world.